Greetings everyone! SteamNextFest for October 2024 is about to wrap up, so that means this two-part series is coming to a close. Well, at least until the next one that happens next year. When I did the previous video showcasing 10 demos, I still wanted to cover more, so that is why I'm doing the same thing today, featuring 10 other demos that hopefully will show off enough gameplay to get you interested in checking them out. I also want to give a fair warning to anyone who's watching this video after the event is over that there is no guarantee that these demos will still be available to play. In fact, some of the games might be released days, a week, or even soon after you're watching this video. But with all that out of the way, hi, my name is 10, and I love to play all sorts of indie and retro games, and I want to welcome you back to the letter 10. I will include links to every demo from this video that is on Steam down below in the description box. But let's go. The first demo I'm featuring today is a game that I backed on Kickstarter a while back, Atom Blast by Summit-Sphere. I actually played a previous demo of this game all the way back on my channel in May of 2022, and I really enjoyed it back then. So why not take a look at and see how the current version is doing. In this demo, you have the choice of playing one of two characters, Dynamite Anton and Annie. And since I've never played as Annie before, I think this playthrough I'm going to go with her. If you are a fan of games like Pizza Tower or the inspiration that is the Wario Land series, then this might be right up your alley. The first level of the demo is called Boiler City, and as you take control of Annie in her, what I assume is a Morning Star, you'll be charging, spinning, sliding, bouncing, vaulting, and blasting your way through a colorful world full of enemies, hazards, and destructible blocks. This game is very wild in the most over-the-top way imaginable. You'll be collecting poker chips for points, racking them up to get the highest score you can achieve. The platforming in this game is incredibly fun with super tight controls, hopping back and forth between the front and background layers. Playing this version of the demo makes me glad I backed this game, especially with the addition of Slow Roast Sewer. I am going on what might be considered a hot take, but as much as I loved Pizza Tower, I feel like this game is actually going to end up better than that. I know it's not really a competition as these games are going to coexist in their own version of the classic Wario Land formula, but gosh, everything is so incredibly clean and well polished that I can't help but buy into the hype. It's super fun. Sadly, due to the recent hurricanes that have been hitting the East Coast, Atom Blast has been delayed and will be released on December 3rd of this year. Check out the One Blast demo while you still can. Wow, this next one is something I'm incredibly excited to talk about, probably because I spent over an hour in a demo that probably only takes a fraction of that to beat. Building Relationships by Tan Ant Games is a very silly game where you play as a building that can jump, roll, and dash across an island while trying to find romance with other buildings. Yes, you heard me right. It took me a while to figure out how to jump and such in this game, as it's not something you can do right out of the gate. And it probably didn't help that I completely ignored most of the main objective that this demo has, as I wanted to hop and tumble across the island. If you're playing this game completely straight, and you don't have to, if you know what I mean, you will acquire the first satellite dish that will enable jumping for your little roofed house. As you explore the island, you'll meet other structures such as a tent, a windmill, and others. Plus you'll be given objectives like finding a research building that wants you to fish for cars, locate chests with survey questions to unlock more abilities, and even a little mini game to construct some furniture that is apparently a source of food for these structures, all while you interact and flirt with others in this game. My experience with this demo was completely delightful, always laughing and being amazed by some of the silly things going on. Go check out the demo for Building Relationships today because the game is planned for release in the first quarter of next year. Trust me, you won't regret it. Sometimes when you play a demo or a game, you will end up falling in love with it even if you're not very good at it. And that was my experience with Rogue Labyrinth by T-Witch Games. In this game, you'll be competing in a show of sorts where you need to make it past rooms with waves and waves of enemies. Enemies you'll swing out, hit, and bounce their unconscious bodies all around the rooms as you knock them into their friends. Each time you complete a room, you'll be given a choice of which reward you want to make yourself stronger. Sometimes you can skip this reward altogether for extra cash to spend on other upgrades to your unlocked skills, or to spend at vending machines as you dive deeper into the game show, making your way past more rooms with enemies, mini-bosses, chests, and then a boss at the end of each episode. A cool thing about this game is that since you're being broadcast on TV to who knows how many viewers, you'll be able to do cool moves to build up hype and earn fame points. I really never got the hang of either of these things, as I struggled my first dozen times or so, but towards the end, as I got further and closer to the boss, I started to figure out how to string together moves and build bigger combos. I'm going to spoil it to you right now. Like many other roguelikes, you're going to die a lot. Heck, by the time I made it to my second encounter with the boss, I died close to 20 times. You'll be able to meet other characters, talk to mini-bosses which are your rivals, some that have a chip on their shoulders, and be able to do other stuff outside of combat. This is an incredibly fun roguelike, and you'll be able to get your hands on a Rogue Labyrinth in January of next year as it rolls out into early access. I had a wonderful time playing the demo of Zephyr, A Thief's Melody by Oniric Worlds. If you are a fan of games like The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, then I highly recommend checking out this demo. The developer has said that he has been working on this game for 12 years, which I find very notable that a solo developer would work so hard on a game like this, and it definitely shows. The story structure of this demo is laid out by doing some quests, simple ones like picking out a sash for your sister, to large ones like collecting an eagle's egg and curing sick animals. From the landscapes, the greenery, the water, the character models, the lighting, the music, and everything else, this is a gorgeous game. Everything in this demo is so polished, so it's no wonder that this game is going to be coming out very soon. I had so much fun with all the aspects of 3D platform this demo has to offer, and I never felt like the controls were working against me. Plus, this demo is not too short, which is a huge plus. I know that a lot of developers can sometimes release demos when their games are far away from the release date, so they're not often able to show much of a game due to still working on it or finishing up parts of the game. So when I play a game's demo that takes me over an hour to complete, I am always impressed, and these are typically the games I usually end up buying, especially with the amount of hype I feel for this one. If what you've seen so far impresses you, definitely check out Zephyr, A Thief's Melody on Steam, because I know I'm definitely going to be buying this game once it's out. Sometimes it's hard to do a review of multiple games at once like this because I'm editing the footage around, and I usually remove the recorded audio and replace it with the music track you're listening to right now. But I want to assure you that Beat Heartbeat by the Wacy is a wonderfully delightful rhythm game. From what I've played in this demo, it feels like a combination between Bit Trip Runner and the Final Fantasy Theater rhythm games. And what I mean by that is by the way it plays, feels a little bit like runner platforms, you know, hitting all the note timings just right, like most of the rhythm games out there, but how it handles whole notes is very much like the Theater Rhythm series. I adore this game, from the psychedelic visuals to the music tracks, where most of them in this demo are performed by Sophie Martin, and I enjoyed the music so much that I immediately had to check out Sophie's other music tracks on Bandcamp. Anyways, on my playthrough of this demo, I kept everything on easy mode so I can experience every track without becoming overly frustrated. There are 8 tracks in this game, that's including the tutorials, and you can really feel a sense of progression as you make your way through each one. I've been playing rhythm games ever since the first Parappa the Rapper game came out back in 1996 for the original PlayStation 1 system, so I would describe myself as somewhat picky about which rhythm games I want to continue playing, and I gotta say, I enjoyed this very much. If I had only one complaint, is that I couldn't get this to work with my controller, and since it's not mentioned on the store page, I don't really know if this game will ever have controller support. But it's okay, as I was able to easily play this with my keyboard. While the store page on Steam does not have a release date currently announced, you better believe it when I say I put Beat Heartbeat on my wish immediately after I play this demo. I am incredibly excited for the full release. Out of the 10 demos I'm featuring in this video, this is probably the cutest out of the bunch. Apple's Busy Day by Zerduk is about the life of an adorable little apple where you meet up with other fruits and vegetables in a small beachside town, completing quests and slowly unlocking other parts of the area. The tasks in this demo are pretty simple. You have to shake trees for coins, get a tire for someone's bicycle, collect trash, and more. I know that these sort of quests in this game aren't everyone's cup of tea, but I really do love cute, cozy games like this. Don't get me wrong, I also love action titles, first-person shooters, RPGs, and all sorts of other genres, but it's nice to be able to change up the pace by sitting back and playing something incredibly relaxing. Keep in mind that this demo is pretty short, so you won't have to spend a whole lot of time checking it out, but I feel like it shows off just enough gameplay to be able to get a decent idea of what the full game is going to be like. If I had one small complaint about this demo, it would be the sound effect for walking around, because every time you take a step, it makes an electric drum sound that I started to get a little bit bothered by, but thankfully I was able to turn down the volume for this and I continued my adventure. Speaking of sound effects, I really enjoyed the way each character spoke. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Simlish that is spoken in the Sims franchise, and it really worked for a game like this. If this game seems like something right up your alley, well, good news. Apple's Busy Day releases on October 23rd, so give the demo a try, and hopefully you'll find it as relaxing as I did. So in my previous video, which I've linked in the description box, I played a game that had a co-op mode, and I felt like I missed out on a good portion of the gameplay by only playing it solo. So when it came to Brimstone's Overthrown, I decided to do the complete opposite of that other game and play this game with one of my girlfriends. I feel like this game really benefits from co-op, and after playing it with another person, I don't think I even want to do a single player experience of this game. This title is an open world city builder, and that means you're going to be spending a lot of time building up structures such as a city hall, townhouses, outhouses, mills, factories, mines, and a whole bunch of other stuff. In this demo, you'll be given a list of objectives of what you'll need to do. Build specific buildings that will entice NPCs to join your blossoming little town and do jobs needed to help turn the community into a bustling city. There are different types of stuff to research, so you can create newer buildings or farmlands, making pens for animals that you will then harvest their meat, and slowly prepare for raiders that will want to destroy the community you've worked so hard to build up. One cool thing that my girlfriend and I discovered about an hour into our playthrough is that if you're not careful with your funds, you'll end up underpaying the citizens of your town, and they will eventually stop working altogether. So thankfully we were able to get that all sorted out. Over time, the seasons will start to change, which, by the way, both of our computers took a little performance dive as the seasonal changes started to happen, but nonetheless, this was a neat little thing that happens to signify a big change. We both had a blast playing this, and it supports up to 6-player co-op, so if you do check this out, gather up 5 of your closest friends and have at it. Overthrown will be released as an early access title very soon, with a roadmap going on until at least the summer of 2025. So if the whole sandbox building genre is your jam, I wholeheartedly recommend getting this title. This next demo is a little on the short side, but oh my goodness, it is super fun, and I'm ready to buy this game the moment it is released. Coming from the studio behind Chicory and Wondersong is Wishes Unlimited's newest title, Beastie Ball. This game is a creature collector like Pokemon, however instead of battling monsters like in that series, you'll be recruiting beasties to join your volleyball team. You'll start off immediately in the character creator, which is one of the cutest that I've seen so far. Once you're done with that, you'll be plopped into a world full of rivals, beasties, and new friends. I was immediately taken back by the presentation of the story in this demo, and even though it is a short demo like I said earlier, I fell in love with everything this game has to offer. The designs of every character in BC have unique styles that feel reminiscent of creatures I would see in storybooks I used to read to my kids. The world feels alive, and the story is wonderfully told as you start as a child and grow into a volleyball coach. You'll go through a wonderful tutorial to give you the basics of how volleyball works in this game, because I will admit, I just thought the game only involved hitting a ball and making your opponent miss. And while that portion is in the game, you'll have an array of special moves to perform, and eventually you'll level up each beastie, acquiring new moves in the process. The gameplay loop, although very brief, is so well designed that I'm surprised more game developers haven't done more of this in the past. Also, I want to bring special notice to the music in this game, all written by Lena Raine, and it's nice seeing her do more music that showcases her talents. I mean, we already knew she was great since the Celeste days, but this soundtrack is just lovely. With all that being said, Beastie Ball is currently scheduled for release later this year, so don't miss it. I'm actually a little sad that I didn't play the demo for this next game sooner, because Usual June by Finji is one of the best narrative experiences I've played this year, and this isn't even the full game. You play as June on a mystery with one of her friends. I'm not sure exactly what happens before this, but in this demo you are thrown into the middle of an already ongoing story in what appears to be an underground or underwater bunker. I'm actually a little sad that the story in this demo didn't start a little bit sooner, because sure, you're given a little bit of context about what happened prior to your start. The beginning was very confusing to me, but what I can gather from both reading the store page on Steam and playing the short demo is that June and her friend are investigating secrets of a place called Fen Harbor, encountering ghosts, traversing to another dimension, all while battling mysterious monsters. This game is pretty action-packed, and the battle areas heavily remind me of the battles in Alice Madness Returns or the game Lost in Random. The combat flows so well that it is incredibly easy to pick up and figure it out. There are also minor puzzles in this game, but so far nothing that will make you scratch your head, leaving you wondering what to do next. I have one serious critique about this game, and it's the robotic screeching voices each character does. There is no voice acting in this demo, and instead it is replaced with something ear-wrenching that made me turn the voice volume completely down. In fact, once I noticed this problem and found out several others were complaining about this exact thing on the Steam forums, so hopefully the developers will either replace this with actual voice acting or something less irritating. Usual June has a planned release for next year, but the store page doesn't say exactly when next year it's coming out. So I'll just go ahead and wishlist this title and follow the development of this game as closely as possible. The last demo I wanted to talk about in today's video is the one for Bear Belly Games' upcoming game, Dungeons and Ducklings. I first heard of this game back in March of this year, and then I actually got to see it in person at VGM Con earlier this year, and this game had my attention with its cute presentation and super fun gameplay. If you played either Crossy Road or Pac-Man 256, or both, you may be familiar with some of the gameplay mechanics. If you've never played or never heard of either of those games, then you're in for a treat. You'll play as a pretty large duck, and you'll be thrown in a maze-like area where you must collect coins, rescue other ducklings, and earn attacks to either destroy enemies or knock down walls to create new pass-throughs. This is a roguelike, so you will probably end up dying a lot, but you'll use the downtime in between runs to shop for upgrades and items, check in with the ducklings you've rescued, and reset for your next attempt. There are some beautifully animated cutscenes in this game, which are accompanied by some pretty good voice acting as well. Now, I'll admit that I'm not the best gamer when it comes to roguelikes, as seen earlier in this video, but goodness, I have already gone back more into this demo even after recording footage on a previous day, because this game is pure joy. You'll eventually run into traps and bosses, but even after death, you'll gain more knowledge and better situational awareness to help better proceed with your runs. Oh, and by the way, you can press a button on your controller to just quack. It adds nothing directly to the gameplay, but it's a neat little feature that I would miss if it wasn't in the game. Dungeons and Ducklings currently does not have an announced release date, but oh yeah, I'm definitely going to follow this game, and I recommend you do the same if this looks fun to you. That's pretty much going to be a wrap up for my videos on SteamNextFest 2024, but wowee, this has been super fun. While I only featured a total of 20 demos between the two videos, I played over 50 demos for this event. I wish I could have squeezed in more. Actually, now that I think about it, I probably can do that since this fest is technically ending tomorrow morning at 10 AM Pacific time, but I won't do another video on this. But if you know of any other demos or any other indie games you think I would enjoy, definitely leave a comment below. Also, if you haven't already, feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Now, one last thing I wanted to mention is that I do have a Steam curator page under the name of Tens Indie Seeker. It's an old name, I don't use that anymore for my YouTube channel obviously, but you will see that on the screen right now. I currently only have 31 followers to that, but if you want to see mini reviews of games, many that I don't do videos on, feel free to check that out. As always, I want to thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful and wonderful day, and I'll catch you later. Bye.